Can you hear me? See if this audio, if my voice is in sync with the video. As I'm speaking now, does it seem to work? Ah, it's synced. Nice. Yeah. Okay, it was an offset. I had it set for 750 milliseconds, which in the beginning of my tenure on Twitch seemed to make sense. And then out of the blue, now it no longer does. Oh, great. Okay, good. Oh, awesome. Okay, good. Well, I've got a ton of work to do tonight. I'm working on, the mastering is tomorrow for Puzzle, and then the vinyl mastering is Monday. So I've got a lot of work to do tonight, but I'll do an actual Twitch stream on Monday, and tonight I'm just checking to see if we're in sync. So, hey, anybody have any questions while I'm here? Your breathing is calming, someone says. Nice. Let's see. It's in sync. Right. It was actually a very easy fix, but it just seems like typically, unless I'm in the frame of mind to want to fix something, I just don't have the patience for it. And so up till yesterday, I just didn't have the frame of mind to actually dig in and fix the problem. My favorite cartoon character. When I was a kid, it was Garfield, for sure. Now, I don't know if I have one. What color are my socks? They are black, currently. Any chance you'll ever play something like the Mighty Masturbator live? I have played it on several occasions. Are you planning on doing more tablature, I guess this is about? Yes, we're going to do deconstruction next. Have you tried the new Axe FX 3 update? No, I haven't, because that means I have to update my operating system, and I don't want to do that yet. How's the BBC Child Show music going? It was finished a couple weeks back, and it is now airing on BBC. I think it's good. How are you? I'm okay, actually. I'm okay. Love you too. How is your sweater smelling? It's distracting. It's not even that it smells bad. It's just I'm really sensitive to scent in general, and it has enough of a scent to be distracting. But it's also still cold in Vancouver, so I'm willing to overlook that for the moment. You're almost as old as me, someone says. Shouldn't you be asleep right now? What time is it? It is 9:03 p.m. I migrate between being nocturnal and very much a morning person. And at this point, I'm kind of riding the cusp between the two. Hi, Montreal from Dev. How's the tea? I don't have my tea right now. I do have a box of it over there. I just don't have the water. The tea is great. Here, I'll show you. Check this out. I have been drinking so much of this stuff, it's been insane this year, right? With roasted rice. Because I party, guys. Hello from Scotland. I too have a wonky sleep pattern. Yeah, this past year has galvanized any oddness in my sleep pattern for sure. Have you ever had a kidney stone? Yes, and it is unbelievably painful. Unbelievably painful. It is cripplingly painful, and then it just kind of goes away. It's like bizarre. Hey, Devin, are you into video games? I think they're beautiful, but I don't typically play them. It's 6 a.m. in Germany, and he has black tea. Very nice. Morning from Sweden, morning from Canada, or evening from Canada. Have you ever tried Adderall? No, I have not. Sleeping is hard. I agree. Pissing rocks. I think that's probably referring back to the kidney stone. I get it. No question, just hope you're doing well. Very nice. You too. Good morning, New York. Is that your open sea? I'm learning Hear Me this weekend after picking up your tabs. Okay, great. Well, that would make one of us that could actually play it. I don't even remember the first note of Hear Me at this point. I tend to record so much music, and then just as soon as it's done, I forget it, right? Good morning, California. It's midnight in Quebec. Everything is peaceful. That's very nice. What's your favorite looper pedal? The Headrush looper pedal. It was cool seeing you on Herman's stream. That was fun. It was fun. I felt bad for asking him to flip his guitar around. How am I? I'm okay. How has it been lately? It has been, how has it been? I'm very proud that I managed to get through the puzzle and not become psychologically unstable as a result of the workload, because it was a really intense project. But I just dug in, and I think that perhaps this year has taught me to deal with levels of stress that previously I would have not been able to deal with. So I'm actually feeling pretty good. Good stream for a good cause. Talking about Herman's, yep. So it's coming soon. Yeah, well, here's the thing is I have, on Monday, we master the puzzle and snuggle for vinyl. But because of the pandemic, the wait to produce vinyl at this point is between 5 and 8 months. It's insane. I've never seen it like that before. So what I'm doing is I'm putting it into production, and then I start light work in June. So basically, I'm just, with the world in the state that it's in, and with the lack of touring and everything, I just keep working and I just keep making music. And I think that's the best solution for me. And so Puzzle is in production as of Monday, but as to when it comes out, that's still sort of up in the air. Japan, 1 p.m. Nice. I'm stoked for the release of them too. Give us digital now. I've got a couple of ideas, but I just want to get it finished first. Like right now, as I'm talking to you, I am exporting stems for the second part of the puzzle project called Snuggles. And I got delivered the movie or the visualizer for it today, and it's awesome. But it's also so good that it made me think, oh, the mix isn't good enough yet. So tonight, after I finish talking to you, I'm going to remix. Well, not remix from the ground up, but I'm going to try and refine Snuggles just a little bit more. Always enjoy the pleasure of listening to your music. Thank you. How's the weather up there? Is it starting to warm up? It was snowing today in Vancouver, hence my furry companion here. If ever given a chance, would you accept a role on Broadway? I don't know if I could sustain my voice. I can do it in fits and starts, but I'm not a singer at that level. I mean, I can do what I do, but I don't know if I would be cut out for that world. I think I would. I'd run out of voice pretty quick. Another mix after this. Yeah, oh yeah, my God. Another record after this. There's so much coming up, guys. Planning a vacation break at some point? No, because there's nowhere to go. It's like Vancouver's in a weird state in terms of the pandemic. British Columbia, I guess, is in a weird state, and so there's really nowhere to go. And so for me, I figure that as opposed to making a stink about not being able to go anywhere comfortably, I'm just going to keep writing, and that's all right by me at the moment. So, can you give MTN Reacts on YouTube a shout out? Here's a shout out for MTM Reacts, who has raised nearly $3,000 for a mental health charity. Well done, sirs, and anyone else who isn't sirs. Would you ever write a musical and just direct it? Oh, I'd love to. I've been working on a musical called not the Puzzle. What the heck is it? The Moth. I've been working on The Moth for about 4 years now. What snack can't you get enough of lately? There's these little... God, I wish I even know the name of it. Do I have any here? Yeah. These. I've been eating these like they're going to stop making them. And they're little... I think they're like ginger cookies or something. They're very thin. And those with this, if I have anything that's going to define this last year, it's a combination of these two things here, guys. It's this tea and this stupid ginger cookie. It's very thin. So, and it's annoying. In fact, I'm irritated by that cookie because they're incredibly difficult for me to stop eating. What bit rate do you record and mix at? 2448. I've done 88 in the past, or 96, and I've done 44.1. And 88 is, it takes up a lot of hard drive space, and ultimately, up to this point, the CD format that we bounce it down to is going to be 44.1 anyway. So I didn't notice a huge difference with 96, but I'll keep going. Someone says they love those cookies. Absolutely. Would you rather your balls mown down with a rusty strimmer, or would you rather smash a dolphin's blowhole? I'm going to have to go with the blowhole. Dolphins or whales? I love them both. Out of sync again, someone says. Is it out of sync for everybody, or is it just for JBB? Yeah. Am I planning on doing more full album streams? Oh, it's good? Okay, good. Am I planning on doing more full album streams after Ocean Machine? Yes, though I start the Lightwork album in June, and straight on the heel of Puzzle, because here's the thing is I wanted to have Lightwork out really close to Puzzle, because I love the Puzzle. I'm so proud of it, but it's an art project. It's not really an album. So I think that there's going to be people that hear the Puzzle and how weird and abstract it is, and maybe are going to be confused, thinking, you know, I really liked Kingdom, I really like Deadhead, and this is not that. It's just some crazy, wanky art thing. But I'm aware of that. So the idea was to purge the pipes that were clotted up with puzzles so I could write Lightwork. And man, I wrote a fucking cool song yesterday. I wrote a cool song yesterday, and it's an actual song, and I'm really glad that it's I had the opportunity to get that puzzle thing out of my system, because when I was writing Lightwork at first, which was a year ago, I was confused as to why it kept coming out so abstract, and it was because I realized that the anxiety of this past year was really something that I had been ignoring. I think like a lot of us, you spend a lot of energy trying to be strong for your friends and your family and the people around you, that maybe to a certain extent you don't take into consideration how stressed you are, right? Or how much anxiety you're dealing with. So by getting Puzzle out, and man, I was just like, oh my God, this is anxiety. It's like stress. It's intense. It's dark. It's convoluted. It's abstract. It's, by getting it out of my system, when I started writing again yesterday, I was like, oh, that is fucking cool. It's like heavy and direct, and you know, there's no BS with it, and it's romantic. I really am happy with it. Keep your head down, ignore the anxiety, press on. Yeah, that's 2020. So I went and listened to Puzzle in the car the other day. And usually what I do, and this is my book for it too, I take the book and then I write my notes in the car, and then I can sort of say, okay, well, this needs to change, and these things need to change. And usually when I'm doing that process, I participate with the music, and it's a very technical thing. I'm like, oh, the snare's too loud, or the guitars aren't loud enough, or whatever. But with the Puzzle, I just found myself giggling the whole time, because I was like, oh my God, this sounds exactly like 2020 to me. It's 50 people in my life, and everybody's playing at the same time. And it's crazy and super heavy in a weird way, emotionally. And then Snuggles is beautiful. And so I was just like, oh God, that summarizes it better than I could have possibly planned. It doesn't necessarily mean it's going to be engaging for everybody, but the idea was to do it so then I could write Lightwork without any hang-ups, you know, without that stuff getting in the way. So I hope you appreciate it for what it is. Is there anything in music that you feel is far too underappreciated and deserves more love? I think there's a lot of things, but I also think, like with my own music at this point. I'm very happy with the place that I'm at because I'm not overground, you know? Like the people that are participating um, are people that really want to hear it, and it's my pleasure to play, and I don't have to. Have you noticed? Here's as a side note, how everything seems to be hyper monetized now, and it's almost like the scene is. It's almost like everybody thinks that no one notices. It's like all the Instagram accounts and band accounts, and it's all selling shit. It's all selling shit. And then YouTube, it's like every 10 minutes it's some stupid ad. And they're all targeted for your clicks, right? So mine are all clearly ads about tea and cookies and hemorrhoid cream. But it's almost like everybody thinks, oh, we can get away with this. We can just make the entire experience of being online and participating with music some sort of like, ad revenue campaign. And it's so irritating. And although I have to sell what I do, I really try to make sure that we don't sell everything. And it's funny, even other people that I work with, like in the peer group, they're like, oh, have you thought about doing this? You can monetize your work in this way. And I'm just like, but it's so irritating, right? This stream was brought to you by Manscaped. Yeah, where's that coming from? I never looked up how to trim my pubic hair, yet there's all these low budget ads that keep coming into my feed about dudes trimming their pubes, and I don't get it. It's gone 5 a.m. there in the UK. What are you doing up, man? You got to go back to bed. Half the plan is to annoy people into paying to get... Oh, that's a good point. Yeah, that's a good point. So I guess if you subscribe to these stupid things and you don't get ads... Oh, humans are such a pain in the ass, man. What's your thoughts on Prince as a musician and an artist? Oh, he's genius. He's brilliant. I didn't love it. Honestly, I didn't listen to it. And I listened to some of it, enough to recognize how brilliant it was, but I didn't love it, right? Let's see. I'd love more Dev merch, though. Yeah, well, thank you. I mean, I keep getting mails from merch companies saying, oh, we should do socks or, what was that thing I saw on The Onion the other day? Weighted condoms for anxiety. I thought that was funny. Dave Brockie. Yeah. 6 a.m. in Italy. I can't sleep, but I'm glad to see you. It's good morning. Good morning. It's time for some coffee. What's for breakfast this morning? If I was in Italy, I would probably eat almost anything. That's the thing I miss most about traveling is the food. And the shows. Well, food, right? I found one of the hardest parts of this year has just been deciding what to eat every night. Right? You've got the family, and every day you're just like, shit, it's dinner time again? Oh my God. And we're vegetarians, so it's like your options are like a bowl of beige mush or a bowl of yellow mush with your choice of rice or some sort of carb. But trying to figure out what to eat is just like a heck of a thing. And I'm not vegetarian necessarily for any reason other than I just found myself vegetarian. Every now and then when I travel, if there's meat that's really yummy, I'll try it. But it just never really occurs to me. All right. I saw SYL in Pittsburgh once 16 years ago, and it blew my damn mind. Yeah. SYL in general, I remember those tours only because there was a beginning and the end, and the rest of it was just this blur of weirdness. Can we all collectively trick Jeff Bezos to fund you $10 million for your symphony? The problem with that, and this, I know it's a joke, but here's the problem with that, is then it would have too much attention, and I don't want the attention, I just want to be able to do whatever the fuck I want. And as soon as you become like really popular, then all of a sudden people are, all of a sudden you've got, if someone gives you $10 million, you're not going to be able to make the Dick Symphony that you want to make. It's going to be like, well, one of our ad revenues comes from Pepsi Cola, and they're a little concerned about the fact that, you know, the dicks are circumcised or whatever. I would prefer to just keep doing things in a more sort of DIY way and not have to have anybody tell me what to do and not have to monetize it constantly. And it's not in an altruistic way. It just seems like I know for myself when I try and chill out at night and I watch videos of people cooking things in Korea or people making miniature things or what's another thing I watch? The train videos. I love it, but every time those ads come up, I'm just like, number one, I don't want to subscribe to YouTube, and number two, this kind of bugs me, right? So someone gives me $10 million for a symphony, it's going to be guaranteed manscaping ads every 10 seconds, right? Do you read any fiction? I do not. I do not. What I read is at night, and I usually read just to fall asleep. And what do I read? Oh, a bunch of stuff. It's usually all sort of boring self-help sort of hippie stuff. And again, not because I'm necessarily loving that, but maybe it's because it's so dry that it puts me to sleep after 2 pages. What a sick day. Cheers to you too. All right. But that would be appropriate cross-branding for a Dick Symphony, though. Yeah, that's true. That's true. Manscaping brings you the moth. Yeah. Dev goes to play the beginning of the song, ad, and we're back, about to sing the ad exactly. For what it's worth, thank you for doing these. I'm sorry I haven't been on more. You know what it is? I get so focused on my work. I love it. I love my work, guys. I love my work. Somebody had mentioned the bed back there. Yeah, I just fall asleep. It's like, I love doing what I do. And I love the fact that I can do it because of you guys and gals and those in between. And I wish I could, while I'm in the midst of mixing or writing, I could just compartmentalize my thinking and be like, okay, now I can do Twitch. Now I can, do a podcast. But it's like I'm so single-minded. When I was a kid, it was the same. I was like, I'd eat the potatoes, and then I would eat the meat, and then I would eat the vegetables. It's like I'm really like that, and it works well for me. So now that I'm right at the end of puzzle, I've still got several weeks, but it's like a little easier now. Now I can start to sort of think about, all right, Twitch and all these things, right? You focusing on work means, well, thank you. But at the same time, I can't do it without you. Asperger Dev. Yeah. Hey, so here's some cross-marketing, some cross-platform marketing for the Moth. If we want to make, $10 million to make my stupid symphony, we could have manscaping, Asperger's, like not the mental affliction, but literally somebody wrote ass burgers in the South Park way. I'll take it. Did you watch the Dark Crystal Netflix show? I started and then I stopped halfway through the first episode. And why did I do that? Because it was a fantastically made thing, but it wasn't Jim Henson. I don't know. Maybe my connection to the original was so intense that it felt weird to watch it if it wasn't Jim Henson. So no, I didn't. You're welcome. Thank you. Love the Asperger's episode. Yeah. I ate the exact opposite. Whittle down all the food. Oh, yeah. I was just moving a little quick here. Let's see. I listened to just about any ad if it was narrated by Ziltoid. All right, so what would he say? He'd be like, yes, ladies and gentlemen, you shall trim your pubes with the most fetid pube trimming. I'm tired. That's as far as I go. With the most fetid, fervent pube trimming. And it just flashes an ad and we're done, right? Yes. Apparatus. All right, I'm sold, someone says. Universal Flame. It's funny, when I see the names of some of these songs, I don't remember the songs. It's same thing with even Puzzle. Like, I mean, I've been thinking about that music for the past 6 months. It devoured me for a while there. And I'm glad it did, because I really want Lightwork to be super direct and clean and powerful and heavy and melodic and beautiful. And I don't want any bullshit, and I don't want it to be abstract. I want it to be like romantic, heavy stuff, right? Really strong voice. But I couldn't do that because every time I went to write it, all this puzzle stuff was just like, blah, blah, right? And so I thought, okay, I'll just get it out of my system. And man, it's like, puzzle's super emotional for me. I don't know. It seemed like maybe it's just because the year has been so emotional, as it has been for many of us, right? And not giving myself the chance to kind of participate in that by actually hearing it back. I'm just like, holy crap. What's the total run time on Puzzle Snuggle? Okay, so it's about an hour for Puzzle. It's about 45 minutes for Snuggle. It's got an awesome corresponding visualizer for Snuggle. In the beginning of this year, I used to watch these things on YouTube that were called Meditative Mind. And they would play like a looping sound with some sort of soft visuals. And that's what kind of inspired the Snuggles thing. I kind of wanted that. I wanted to have beautiful music that had like a visualizer that people could just watch and loop. And it's about 45 minutes. And then there's a graphic novel for Puzzle that's really good. And then a novel that my sister wrote, which is crazy because she's a really good writer. And I haven't read it yet, but I have a feeling it's going to be really dark because that's kind of where she goes. And but the box set for Puzzle, so it's like a 10 by 10 box, and it's gloss black, but it's got all this sort of like digital mountains made up with all the artwork on the side, and on the top it says the puzzle. It's got a magnetic flap, and then when you open it up, there's a 7-inch video screen with a speaker that loops all these crazy fractal images that I had this guy in the Netherlands who's made videos for like Meshuggah and Mastodon do. His name's Julius, I forget his last name, but it's like, so when you lift it up, it's all this crazy fractal stuff that loops. And then there's the top, and then when you flip open the top, there's going to be this little beanbag character. There's these 4 little ivory characters that represent the parts of the film that we made for the puzzle. And then there's 2 USB sticks, and on the USB sticks are going to be 4 or 5 different versions of each record that like start from the ambient, and then they go through all the process, and then the films, and there's going to be a documentary. It's awesome. It's super cool, but we're only going to make like 1,000 of them because they're expensive. But I wanted it to be like awesome because honestly, and I'm sure you guys feel the same way, there's no reason at all for you to buy a CD. Like, why would you buy a CD? It's on Spotify, it's on YouTube. So the idea is to make something that's like awesome, that as a item, you're like, oh, I could have this in my house. And it's like a little world, right? With like, and in the book, it's going to be the book in there as well, and the graphic novel. It's like awesome. How do you keep yourself motivated when you feel you're losing your mojo? Well, I just farted, like, seriously, just, wow. Kind of fell out of me. How do I keep myself motivated? I'm overwrought with gratitude, and I mean that, not only for the audience, but there's times where I think, oh my God, I can still move, you know? Like, it's hard to explain, but there's a part of me that just is so grateful for what I have and for the things that I'm able to do and the people in my life and the audience and all this, that music becomes an extension of that gratitude. And I mean that. And so whenever I feel like, oh, I don't want to write or whatever, it's usually because I'm tired more so than not having something to say. If I really dig, there's things to say. It's just as simple as saying thank you and then making it super loud, right? Make it super heavy. I'd much rather have a CD. Okay, so not only are we making this big stupid box set, we're doing vinyl with gatefold for both Snuggle and Puzzle. We're doing individual CDs for each, and we're doing a digipack that combines it all, right? So the idea, but my fear with it, not fear, but my thought, and I want to warn people too. I'm just like, guys, this is not a record. It's fucking crazy, but I needed to do it. I really needed to do it. And it sounds to me like the year that we've had, and it includes 50 musicians, you know? So yeah, it's available in CD and vinyl and all that, right? When is pre-order for vinyl? So I don't want to put anything up for pre-order until we because manufacturing of physical product at this point is so erratic that I want to be able to have it like confirmed before we do it for pre-sale, because there's sometimes where in the past with myself or other bands where you'll put things up for pre-sale without having the physical product, and then there's a delay and then people get pissed off, right? So I want to have it done, and I should know within the next week. Is it available for streaming as well? Oh, yeah, absolutely. In fact, what I'm trying to convince management at this point to do is that we can just put it up on YouTube, like, immediately. So you can hear it and see it immediately. I mean, I think that would be cool. Everyone is producing stuff because everyone has been creating music. I think a boom of music. Absolutely, the music is going to be going. Somebody says about 432 hertz. Yeah, I really like 432. And some people think it's snake oil, but I actually really like it. Biggest problem I found with 432 is I can't jam with anybody, you know, and also working with orchestral. So on Snuggles and Puzzle, I had orchestra and choir and everything on it. But they're not in 432, so I have to physically change the pitch digitally, which has had varying degrees of success in the past, right? Bandcamp. I'd love to do on Bandcamp. Yeah, Bandcamp is very cool, right? Yeah, see, that's how I feel too. That's the way forward. Someone says, put it up and let people support if they dig it. Absolutely. I absolutely agree with that. However, it's you know, in my work, I work with a bunch of people, and some people have an older mentality and some people have a more forward-thinking mentality. So at this point, I'm just trying to convince people that that's the way forward, because I agree. It's not like people aren't going to be able to hear it, right? So we should put it up. Just put it up on YouTube. Like, if people like it, dude, there's CDs and vinyl and crazy box sets. That'd be great. Throw up sections, maybe, yeah. That's sadly how the labels don't want to do it. I agree with that. However, check it out. Puzzle's not on a label. It's all me. Woo! Which means that funding it is something that we've had to figure out. But past that point, man, I'm sure I can just put it up on YouTube. So that's what I'm working on at this point, right? Anyone you'd like to work with that you haven't been able to work with yet? No, I have no real desire to work with anybody. I did a song for this band, All India Radio, and the reason I did that is because I found on Spotify their record called The Slow Light, and I went on a vacation, and it was a soundtrack to my vacation, and it meant a huge amount to me. So I contributed to his record because I felt like he really did something nice for me unwittingly. You know, like as a musician, he provided something that was really beautiful for me and my family, so I was happy to help him. How's the Neural DSP coming along? Well, it's great, except for I gave them, I think they thought it was going to be more easy than it is, but I've been working on my guitar rig for 35 years. So they said, well, what's your signal chain? And then when I showed them the signal chain, they were like, oh, shit. So they're currently working on it now, and they had to buy themselves a Roland GP100 so they could start replicating those Ocean Machine sounds and everything, right? Have you seen reactions to your videos on YouTube? I don't watch them. And it's not that I don't appreciate it. I just find it, like, super embarrassing. I'm sure you would, too. I think if you put up something and people were doing reaction videos to it, it's weird, man. But I appreciate it. Seems like you basically live in that one room. Well, this past year, it has not been far from the truth. Hey, it's my dad, someone says. Yeah, well, I'm a dad, if that's a thing. Someone says, I cringe at myself constantly. Yeah, you know what? I'm suspicious of people who don't. Right? Just because my work has put me in a quasi-public position, you know, like, damn, man. Like, I rarely look at images of myself and think, fuck yeah, I look at images of myself, I'm like, oh, it's that fucking guy, you know? But I have to do it in order to do it. So when you see reaction videos to you, you're just like, wow, man, who would want to watch a video of themselves? Like, it just seems super weird, right? And I'm sure a lot of you would feel the same. But I do feel that it's flattering, right? There's a level of narcissism, maybe. Yes, of course, absolutely. And um, I think that's just part and parcel of being a musician, regrettably. Do you ever get imposter syndrome? Yeah, of course. And in fact, I've been fortunate in my work to have been friends with or have communicated with people who are much more successful than I. And almost unequivocally, most people who I think are like decent human beings feel that imposter syndrome. So if you feel it on your own, I think it's inevitable on a certain level. So embrace it. How often do you shave your head when you're not on tour? I like to think that I could do it once every 4 days, including this crap here that never manifests as facial hair, yet irritatingly becomes whatever this is. But lately it's been more like every week, once a week. Someone says, dude, I literally haven't taken a picture since childhood for that reason. Yeah. See, that's the hardest, not the hardest part, but one of the craziest parts about being a musician, a public musician, is that a lot of my day involves having to look at images of myself or read things that I write, or they're like, we need to okay this group of images for this, or you're doing a podcast and you have to do these things. But if there's one thing that I suggest that we get over is that sort of crippling sense of self-awareness, because I think ultimately you need to do these things. Oh, thank you for the donation. That was very nice of you. You know, in order to do this, I have to be comfortable enough with this shit to function, right? So, and you know, I think that having kids and having people in my life that I've known for many years, it keeps you humble, because I think as soon as you start going down any avenues where you think that your shit doesn't stink, you're gonna have people in your life that are like, oh, dude, it stinks, man. Do you remember the Raincoat song? I don't even remember a lot of the puzzle stuff, and I'm still working on it. Dev can rock a tutu like none other. That was a show of solidarity, because there's 5 women on that tour. There was Che and Leah, Samantha, Anne, Arabella. I think that's the and when they're wearing dresses and tutus, they're like, listen, if we're gonna have to wear this shit on stage, so are you. So it's a show of solidarity more so than anything else. Is social media more of a blessing or a curse? I think it's somewhere between the two, maybe. It's a blessing because, again, I love my job and I love to be able to participate with the people that facilitate it, which is a lot of times you, right? You guys. But it's a curse in that there's so much toxicity. I find that when I'm in a mood that's really negative or really shitty, or I've had a bad day, or I just want to tell everybody to fuck off or whatever, I make a mental note for myself of like, don't do that on Twitter, man. Because, I got some buddies and peers, and it's just like, their Twitter is just like, it's like, it can be very toxic for me, knowing somebody I care about, and then following them and then having them just like be like pissed off, right? Like, we're all pissed off a lot of times. That's just how it is. But I just feel that it's like, I want to have an elastic band on me, just be like, doink, dude, you don't need to say that on your social media. Like, you can phone up your buddy. Like, I phone up Mark or Beav or whatever, and I'm like, dude, everything sucks. But I don't want to say it online, just because it just seems like everything is already so negative that if I'm going to participate with it, I'd rather not have that be something that I do. So it's kind of a conscious thing. And as a result of that, social media for me is pretty positive. Yeah, that's my feelings on it. I think the reaction by Elizabeth Zaroff is really worth watching, both informative and entertaining. Yeah, man, it's just weird. You know, I don't want to watch me. I don't want to watch people talk about me. My important question: are you aware of how important and fundamental you and your art are for many, especially for me? Well, I mean, I really appreciate it. It's funny, you know, I've said this on a couple of occasions, and maybe it's a rare thing to say within our genre, like the ones that, you know, metal or rock or whatever. But when I watch videos on painters or jazz musicians or whatever, they say the same thing. So it's not like this is a unique thing to me, but my role as a musician is just I'm a worker. You know what I mean? Like, if you can keep your shit together and you can keep your mind as balanced as you can, like, I mean, it's been hard this year, but if you can, then what is going to come out of you is going to be in line with that sort of sense of gratitude. Oh, I got to fart again. So with that in mind, it's like I don't necessarily feel that when people are benefiting from the work, it's because of me necessarily. I think it's just my job is to represent something that's already there, right? And that's not, you know, some people have been like, oh, are you channeling things or is it some sort of weird? I'm like, fuck no, man. It's just that's what art is. It's got nothing to do with the artist. It's like you're just, if you're grateful, you just write. And then if it's good, I saw an artist the other day on a program, Maggie, I forget what her name was. She's a British artist and older lady, but she said something I thought was just awesome. She said she only feels responsible for the shitty stuff, you know? And the reason she said that is because she feels like those are the parts of her work where she didn't get out of the way of the inspiration. And I totally agree with that. So if the music has benefited people, I'm proud that I've done a good job. You know what I mean? But it's not like, that's how I feel at least, right? Arty farty. There you go. Drop C fart. There we go. Yeah, somebody said we're unique in that we let the fans know how important they are to me. My God, I love my job. I love my job, right? Like, I don't feel beholden to the audience. I don't feel like, but it's symbiotic in a sense. If you are an artist, if you're a musician, you're making work and you're not just keeping it to yourself, then on some level, part of your process involves other people resonating with it. And then it becomes like a two-way street. It's like, it's a relationship. But I mean, I'm sure it's the same with you. You've had relationships that end up being toxic. And you're like, okay, I don't have time for that one. That doesn't make any sense for me. I don't have to put up with that. However, I love doing it. And it's a relationship, right? I feel the same way about the management team. When I talked to them the other day, I said, this isn't a hierarchy. It's like I rely on you to facilitate certain things in the same way that you rely on me to tour or do interviews or whatever. And the end result is that we're trying to make awesome shit. That's it. And if we do it correctly and everybody's on the same team, then it gets better and better, better and better. But I've often felt uncomfortable with people viewing the artist as their art. You know, it's like my role is I'm a worker and I appreciate the opportunity. That's it. Have you ever experimented with vocal synth software? No, I haven't. Maybe give me some suggestions. I'll try it out. In all seriousness, it's been a gas. Yeah, it has. Because, you know, arty farty. Have you ever heard of the Finnish black metal band Beelzebubs? I have not, but now I may. Did you choose your management team? Yeah, so about 10 years ago, I started working with Northern Music in the UK, and it's been great. Prior to that, it was really good friends that I worked with, but it wasn't moving in the ways that we had. Waves Ovox. Oh, is that one? Yo, I use Ovox all the time, man. I love that plugin. It was great. How long have we been rolling? Oh, I said I was only going to be here for 10 or 15 minutes. Maybe I'm just procrastinating. How long has it been? 45 minutes. Dang, guys. Let's see. Have you ever met Trey from Morbid Angel? Yeah, I have, actually. We played a festival. It was funny. We played a festival in Portugal with Morbid Angel. And, I mean, I loved Domination. That's one of my favorite death metal albums ever. And a lot of, the Covenant and Formulas. And there's a bunch of, I really like Morbid Angel. And I really like what Trey does with his guitar. It's like a different vibe from where I'm at. But I mean, it's like, I really appreciate it. And I was in the bathroom taking a pee. And I heard somebody come in the room. It was just me in the room. And I turned around and it was David Vincent. And I was like, oh, what if this, I felt like, man, this guy is a big dude and it's just him and I. And, and he had watched my show and I had Ziltoid up on the screen and, I'm playing Venga Boys and all this shit. And he goes, my name's David. And I was like, oh, dude, I'm a big fan of your band. He goes, I watched your show. And I was like, oh, cool. He goes, I think the music is really cool. I don't like the humor. And I was like, can't win them all, brother. And then we took a pee, and that was my experience. Let's see. I'll answer a couple more questions, but I got to get on this. I got to finish this tonight, and it's almost 10, and I got to get to sleep because I got to be up early for something tomorrow, too. What do you recommend for someone who can picture music in their head but unable to translate it in a musical, practical state? Ambient music. I think that's why I like it so much, because it's, for example, you have your keyboard here. All right, let me, keyboard cam. Right? So if you were just to make ambient music and you put like an echo on a track, so you make an instrument track and put, okay, say you're in a crazy mood, right? You're in a mood that feels anxiety ridden. I have a lot of different synth programs, but they're all sort of categorized in the same way, where there'll be categories, right? They'll say like abstract or dark or cheerful or something. So the first thing I would do is I would determine what sort of mood I'm in. So if you're in a cheerful mood, randomly click something. Randomly click something that says cheerful, put an echo on it, and I would suggest the echo has maybe a 90% repeat at about 550 milliseconds. And what would be the first thing you would do to a keyboard if you're feeling cheerful? I would just go, and I'd see what that does. And then I'd follow that. Conversely, if I was feeling aggressive, I'd put something dark, like I'd choose a dark sound. I'd just go like this. And just lean on the keyboard and see what happens. But following that is a great way to start, because if after a while you can kind of start to recognize, or at least I've been fortunate enough to be able to, that the visceral like way that you approach your instrument, whether it's keyboard or guitar or whatever, in a lot of ways is a direct link to your emotional state. So if you're in a place that's abstract, just, well, what is abstract? Maybe it's like your fingers go like this. Seems more abstract than this, you know what I mean? So like it all sort of intermingles in a sense. And then after a while of just sort of becoming familiar with what the difference is in intervals and sounds and approaches, right? Whether or not you're light or whether or not you're aggressive. Once you start recognizing what those differences in approaches are, it becomes easier to sort of recognize how to translate your current headspace into sound. And then eventually songs appear, if you're so inclined, but it's not really, it shouldn't be, in my estimation, at least, like a technical exercise, like, oh, cheerful music are these intervals or this color or whatever. It's like everyone's different. And I think you got to experiment to figure out where you're at. And a lot of that experimentation comes from allowing yourself to fail. There's a lot of people that are so convinced that they suck. Even talking to kids, I do some work with kids, and I'm like, just try it. Just sit on your keyboard. If it's robust enough to not break, try it. What's the worst that can happen? And they're like, oh, it's going to suck. I'm not good. And you're like, well, behind that is where the music is. Behind the thoughts of, hey, I'm not good enough or I suck, right? Like, so allow yourself, and this isn't a euphemism, but allow yourself to suck for a while. And then once you're bored of that, you won't be afraid of it anymore. And then there's music behind that. That's a real, it works. You know, don't be afraid to fail. That's a great way. What studio monitors do you use? Well, I made an investment about 5 years ago, and I did a set of speakers called Focal SM9s, and they're really fucking expensive. But it was one of the best. It was one of the best investments I've ever made. But I use it with a program called SonarWorks, which does you do it with a reference microphone. It makes a profile of the deficiencies in your room, because it's a garage. It's not a studio, right? And then it puts an EQ at the end of your chain that you then bypass when you're mixing or when you're bouncing down, and that works great, right? So, how did you get a chance to sing for Dream Theater with Burning My Soul? Oh, I felt so bad. Well, I didn't feel bad at all, actually. I've always respected Dream Theater, but it's never been my bag, right? Like, and it's nothing against the band. It's just, it wasn't my thing. I really liked Motorhead and Metallica, and, you know, for the more progressive stuff, I really like No Means No and things that were a little different than that. And so I'm friends with Mike, and I'm friends with John, and they're really good people, and they're super talented. And when I did that progressive cruise, Mike said, hey, I want you to sing this Dream Theater song. And I said, dude, I don't think that's a good idea. I said, I don't know the song, and I tend to just react to music rather than like, and so I can't sing like that, and I'm just going to be a jackass. I guarantee you, dude. Like, that's what I'm going to do to your song, dude. And your audience isn't going to appreciate it, and so we should not do it. And then a day went by, and he came back, and he says, no, you can just do it. Just do whatever you want to it. And I was like, honestly, man, it's like, okay. And so I went up, and I had the lyrics on an iPad, and the keyboard player, we've since mended fences, but he kind of rubbed me the wrong way, so I kind of was fucking with him. And yeah. And at the end, there was people that were really upset, but I was like, fair warning. I wasn't trying to be a jackass with it. It wasn't my band, right? So I didn't really grow up with it, but they're really good people, and they're super talented. And now that they have the new drummer, I mean, Mike he's a buddy too. Like, they're all good people, man. Really good people. Okay, so I gotta go. Sheridian seems like you could be grading. We worked it out, but sometimes I have a hard time not fucking with people that I don't understand, right? Sleepy Devin sounds like Jordan Peterson. Oh my God. I'd be pissed off at everything. I like a lot of things that I've heard him say, but sometimes it gets lost in this like tirade of him just being perpetually like yelly. It's like, man, you don't have to be so pissy. Maybe he's just had such a career of people like being against him, like antagonistic towards him, that he's always on the defensive. But I find that, you know, hard sometimes. Okay, guys, I got to go work. I'll be back on Monday. Thank you for the support. Please take care of yourself. And I'm in sync now. Woo! What's an in sync song that I could make a pun with here? I don't know the band. Anybody? Can someone mention an in sync song? I can look it up, I guess. Anybody? Let's see. Nobody? Nobody? Here, I'll look it up. In sync songs. Backstreet Boys, all right. That's what it is. That's what I was thinking. I'm not thinking in sync. Okay, guys. I'll see you on Monday, all right? Take it easy. Bye-bye.